My next guest, Teri Morris from Impulse Hub, teaches SME owners to create a website for their business in a week. And Teri joins me on the phone now to tell us exactly how this can be achieved. Teri, we'll be discussing your website in a week classes shortly. But first, provide us with an insight into your own background.
So my background is in ICT. I've worked with large corporations, and then I ventured out and did a couple of my own companies. So I did 2 companies before this, and then last year I had been doing a bit of ICT work, and because people knew I was in ICT, they asked me for help with websites. And I had come across a website building tool that I thought was really good. And so I just said, look, this is so easy to use that anyone could actually do it. So I said I'd go ahead and give a class to my friends, is the way it kind of started. And they took my class and they were just really excited about it. So it kind of went from there, and I gave another class, and then people started asking me to build websites for them, which I didn't think I would do. But I was just enjoying it so much that I went ahead and in July of last year, I formed a company, and that is what became Impulse Hub. And from that, I started my course, which was Website in an Hour.
Now, Teri, I've seen in the last 4 or 5 years, lots of new startups, instead of developing websites, instead are developing Facebook pages for their business.
I think one of the reasons why people have moved to Facebook is because there's a couple of reasons, but Facebook has become a very popular platform. So whenever you're in business, you want to go where your clients are. And, they have over 1 billion people on Facebook. So I would say certainly, have a Facebook presence. For some people, that is enough. Some people think that is all that they need because they think that having a website is going to be too costly or too difficult to both build and maintain. But that doesn't have to be the case anymore. So you can have a website. And what I would say is that you have to think about, your overall marketing, what is going to work for you most. And in some cases, a Facebook page will be sufficient. In other cases, a website will be, and in other cases, you will probably have both.
Now, there has been a number of iterations in technology in relation to the simplification of building websites over the last number of years. It started off with HTML sites. Then we saw the surgence of WordPress type sites, which gave people more control without having the coding skills. But now we're seeing an entry from other tools like Strikingly. Tell us about that particular tool and why it suits people with no coding skills.
So there's loads of different website builders out there, and they are not all the same. Most of them operate on a principle of taking elements, so it could be a text element or a header element or, say, a video or an image element, and dragging it onto the web page. So that makes it a lot easier than, say, something like coding or something like WordPress, because it really doesn't take very many technical skills. But the problem is that if you don't have design skills or you're not a designer, you can still come up with a site that doesn't look very good. So what Strikingly did, which I think is just fantastic, is they work by having sections. So every section has different ways that you can customize it. But you might have a section that could be a contact section or a Google Maps section or maybe a column section or a gallery or something like that. And you take these sections and you drag them onto the web page. And every section has design rules in place so that it makes it very difficult to come up with a website that doesn't look very good. And at the same time, it has customization options. So every section is highly customizable, and it's easy to customize. It's literally like clicking on a toggle key. So it's not like you have to know a lot of things about that either. So I think for anyone who wants to be able to learn how to build a website, you need no design skills, no coding skills whatsoever.
And as Strikingly as a tool, is it suitable for certain business types over others?
Yeah, I would say definitely. I primarily focus on small and medium-sized businesses, startups, and solopreneurs. And one of the reasons why is because for the startup company and people who are just starting in business, oftentimes you're still trying to find your brand. You may not, you may, pivot, you may decide you're going to, you're still trying to figure out what it is that your clients want or, how you can best serve them. And so oftentimes, you can build a website and what you're doing at one point in time can be completely different in 6 months down the road. And so that's why I would say for a lot of people who are just starting out, you don't want to spend a huge amount on a website when you're beginning. When you get more established, yeah, that's fine. But when you're just starting, you don't really want to. In addition to that, more established companies, they're in a different position. They already have their brand established. They already know what they're about, and they want to actually focus on building a stronger brand. So they would be completely happy to invest more money in doing something like that.
Websites themselves are constantly evolving, and we've seen a huge transition over the past number of years from text-based websites to video-based websites. How does Strikingly adapt to that?
So absolutely, the video is very, very popular. As new technologies become available, more and more people want to use these new technologies because they are trying to stand out in a very crowded field. So these things are ways for you to make your site more unique, more your own, more personalized. And one thing that Strikingly does is that it uses video. And it makes it very, very easy to implement video on a website.
Now, established web design companies have gone for a WordPress type template over the last number of years because of the fact that it was built around a blog and that Google ranked blogs very, very well. How does Google rank sites like Strikingly and other website building tools?
Actually, the clients that I have that are on Strikingly are doing really well. And there's a couple of reasons there. So Strikingly focuses primarily on a one-page site, but you can do multi-pages. So I do have some clients that have bigger sites that are multi-pages. But essentially, if you think about this, about 60 to 70% of the data on the internet is viewed through a mobile device, so either a smartphone or a tablet. And what that means is, well, a couple of things. It means that you want a responsive design. Yes, as well as that, the one page makes it very good for your things like search and SEO and things like that. And the reason why is because on a mobile device, people scroll. They scan, so you have to. That has to do with the way you design the site. But as well as that, they scroll. And if they have to click enter to go to another site, in most cases they will not. So if you have good content, a one-page site will actually help you quite a bit over having a multi-page site. And in terms of things like SEO and stuff like that, those kinds of things are actually built in Strikingly because the headers and things like that you need to optimize for SEO, those are very obvious. So it's just, there's lots of things in there that help you with those kinds of things.
Another benefit to using WordPress was the enormous amount of plugins that were available, such as e-commerce and others. Does Strikingly operate in a similar way? Is there plugins available for it? And if so, how do they work?
So WordPress is an open source platform. So it's been around a long time and it has a huge number of people who have written towards it. Strikingly does work differently. So all the website building tools are proprietary. If they have, in many cases, they would have, they've got APIs, these things that allow you to talk to other applications and things. So there would be a number of those, not the same amount as, say, WordPress, but they would have the bulk of them. And I haven't come across a situation where a client was not able to do what they wanted to do.
Your own personal opinion is that these website building tools are going to be a major disruptor to the web design industry as we know it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Years ago, I don't know, people remember this, but when I was growing up, we all had typewriters and things like that. And if you needed a report done for your school project or whatever, you went in and you had it done at the printers. You had someone type it up, and they had little word processors in the typewriters. And then Microsoft Word came out, and what they did with Microsoft Word is they made desktop publishing available really to the masses. And so now everybody, if they need to do a report or a simple flyer or whatever, they do it themselves. And I think that not just me, there's actually several people who work on websites as well who believe that in the very near future, and we're not too far away, but where everybody will be doing their own websites. Now, obviously, it's the same as like, flyers today and stuff like that. If you want a really, really professional one, you still go over to the printers and things like that. And the same will be with websites. But there's no reason why someone cannot build their own website today. And that is exactly the way it's going to be in the future. Everyone should be able to do it themselves.